Chapter 7 Finally Arrived in Toyama. Welcome back to Liliko's Bedtime Mumble. Thank you so much for returning to this little corner of the night. In the last chapter, we boarded the Hokuriku Shinkansen from Tokyo Station's Platform 20, bound for Toyama. During the 2.5-hour ride, my mind drifted straight into the world of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I pictured myself as young Hermione, arriving early at King's Cross, stepping onto the Hogwarts Express for the very first time, taking matters into her own hands to find friends, and eventually meeting our two young heroes, Harry and Ron, only to become their full-time helicopter mother 24/7. If you missed Chapter 6, please check it out. I'm sure you'll enjoy my little Hermione daydream as much as I did. Before we continue, I should clarify something for my listeners from the United States, assuming there are any out there. Since my channel is new, and I only upload a video at a very elegant speed of once per month, I doubt the YouTube algorithm is flapping its wings hard enough to push my sleepy little channel all the way across the Pacific to reach the shores of the Big Apple. So maybe I'm talking to the air. But just in case there really are friends from the USA watching, a big, warm hi to you all. Anyway, in the last chapter, when I mentioned the title of the first Harry Potter movie as Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, some American friends might have wondered if I had tried to cast Obliviate on you and failed miserably. Because in your memory, the movie is called Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Calm down, no one is casting any spell. Please do not start a witch hunt and burn me at the stake. Friends in the US, your memory serves you perfectly. The movie is titled Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone in the United States. Everywhere else in the world, literally everywhere, it is called Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, which is the title J.K. Rowling originally chose. The story behind this is simple. The American publisher worried that the term Philosopher's Stone, a legendary alchemical substance, sounded a bit too academic, a little too much like something from a chemistry exam. They feared it might scare young American readers away. Sorcerer, on the other hand, felt clearly magical, exciting, and absolutely free of homework. In short, Philosopher sounded too nerdy, Sorcerer sounded more fun, and honestly, the Harry Potter series ended up becoming a cultural phenomenon in the United States, revitalizing children's reading habits, shaping discussions about friendship, bravery, tolerance, and standing up against injustice. Millions of young American readers stepped into this wonderful wizarding world, perhaps thanks in part to the publisher's, let's call it, strategically magical decision. So yes, credit where credit is due. Well played, American publisher. Well played. With all these compliments I'm handing out, any publishers interested in publishing my bedtime mumbles into the book? Anyone? Hello? No one. Okay, just checking. No hard feelings. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll get lucky. Anyway, let's return to our story. After 6 chapters, or 7 if you count chapter 3.5 as its own little rebel, and over 20,000 words, give or take a few poetic detours, and an unnecessarily dramatic dinner and breakfast monologue, I have finally arrived in the land of promise, Toyama. Boy, oh boy, wait, let's not be sexist here. Girl, oh girl. This Liliko surely is chatty. Finally, yes, we've made it. 12:39 p.m., right on the dot. Our Kagayaki high-speed bullet train arrives at Toyama Station. That's Shinkansen punctuality for you. Sharp, precise, and politely on time. So very Japan. Not a minute early, not a second late. Wouldn't have it any other way. The doors slide open with a soft hiss, letting out a burst of cool air carrying a faint scent of rain-washed tracks, distant pine, and steel warmed gently by the sun. I step off onto the platform at Toyama Station, suitcase in tow, its wheels rolling obediently behind me like a loyal puppy. It's already 12:30, and I haven't eaten anything since breakfast. By the way, that breakfast was such a big scene, I wrote nearly an entire chapter about it. If you can't remember the details, feel free to revisit Chapter 5, if you dare watch it again. Warning: parental guidance is recommended for persons under 15. It contains scenes of Liliko eating, rather disgracefully. Now it's been 4 hours. The air inside the station is tinged with the aroma of ekiben bento, soy-glazed meats, pickled radish, steamed rice. Faint, but enough to get my stomach staging a polite protest. Still, I hesitate. Because I know. Grandma is waiting, and lunch is already prepared. Not just lunch, but a welcome home embrace served on a table. Naughty as she is, she keeps the menu a secret. But I know. Whatever waits on that table will be all my favorite dishes. And here's the problem. I am hungry, but if I eat lunch here at the station and show up with a full belly, that would be a crime, a culinary betrayal. Against Grandma, and against my own stomach. But it will be at least another 40 minutes until I get there, a tram ride plus a 15-minute walk. Caught between hunger and guilt, I do what any reasonable, starving girl in Japan does. I walk into 7-Eleven, that fluorescent-lit sanctuary, that sacred temple of convenience and culinary miracles. The automatic doors part like the gates of a heavenly chapel, and I step into the glow of fluorescent grace. Inside, the air is cool and consecrated, clean, still, blessed. The refrigeration units hum softly, like monks chanting in an automated monastery, offering quiet solace to every rumbling stomach that crosses the threshold. It sounds like an angelic hymn, gentle and unwavering, promising comfort and peace. Your hunger shall soon be no more. Your suffering will soon be no longer. Yes, miracles do exist. For a hungry Japanese soul, this place is more than a convenience store. It's salvation itself, the closest thing to heaven on earth when your starving stomach and need an instant fix. The shelves are neatly arranged, offering everything from microwavable bentos to socks to umbrellas. But I make a beeline for the holy corner that calls to me like a homing spell every time I land in Japan. The onigiri shelf. Onigiri, also known as omusubi or nigiri meshi, are simple Japanese rice balls shaped by hand from white rice, usually wrapped in a neat band of nori. Modest, humble, perfect. I drift closer without thinking until I'm standing right in front of them. And here they are, my 3 rice ball idols, standing in perfect formation, silent, cool, seductive. My hungry eyes lock onto them, unable to look away, like a fangirl frozen in place, staring at her favorite boy band, loving every member equally. Salmon. Soft flakes of grilled fish tucked into warm rice. A little smoky, a little salty, a timeless classic. Pickled plum, umeboshi. Bold, tart, and beautifully complicated. Sweet, salty, and sour. A flavor that mirrors the tangled emotions of a first love. Tuna mayo. Creamy, savory, indulgent. Like a secret smile wrapped in seaweed. All three are my favorites. I love them all. Each one special. Each one charismatic in its own way. Choosing just one feels like being asked to name my favorite BTS member. Or, for the slightly older among us, your favorite Backstreet Boys. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Each one is unique, each one is charming, and all of them are delicious. Yes, I am still talking about the rice balls. I stand frozen, my hand hovering in midair, like I'm being sorted into a Hogwarts house. Salmon Gryffindor, plum Ravenclaw, tuna mayo Slytherin, but in the most deliciously seductive way. I never realized choosing a rice ball could feel this heart-wrenching, this emotionally overwhelming. For a long moment, I stand there in silence, completely undecided. And then, fate intervenes. Some mysterious force, destiny, hunger, or perhaps the mighty god of umami, guides my hand. It comes to rest on tuna mayo. It's fate. It's destiny. It's meant to be. I lift it carefully, almost reverently, holding it as if it were something precious. And yet, despite being with the one I've chosen, my heart isn't entirely at peace. There's joy, yes, but also sorrow, the quiet ache of the paths not taken. Oh, life is cruel sometimes. It forces you to make choices where no option is wrong, and yet every option leaves behind a lingering what if. The internal drama theater rolls on, episode after episode, like The Young and the Restless. 53 seasons by 2025, over 13,000 episodes. Okay, fine. My inner drama isn't that long running, but you get the point. Anyway, back to me. The inner drama continues. My heart refuses to settle, replaying every possible ending. In this moment, I feel a little like Sharon Newman in The Young and the Restless. At her most vulnerable, she chooses Victor, the powerful, protective presence, when what she truly needs is stability and safety. Yet her heart never truly lets go of Nick, her first love, her soulmate, divorced, separated, but still the one she loves most deeply. And then there's Adam, Nick's half-brother, dark, tortured, fiercely devoted, loving Sharon unconditionally even when he knows he may never be chosen. Three men, three very different kinds of love, brothers bound by blood, divided by her. So tangled, so shocking, so utterly jaw-dropping that, yes, Sharon ends up marrying Victor, their father. Your ex-wife married your father. Your sister-in-law becoming your mother. Soap opera logic at its finest. Unbelievably twisted and dramatic. Okay, my dilemma is not that complicated. No family trees are harmed in the making of this decision. But the feeling? That pull of loving what you can't choose. That ache of leaving something behind even when you choose correctly. That part feels just as real. Holding tuna mayo in my right hand, my left hand reaches out and gently touches the other two, salmon and umeboshi. A soft voice in my heart apologizes silently to them. Not because I love you any less, but because in my heart, well, actually, slightly below my heart, there's only room for one. Cue the classic Young and the Restless moment, dramatic close-up, intense eye contact, and the signature 5-second silent pause. I whisper to the 2 rice balls I'm leaving behind. Believe me, you're always in my heart. One day, we'll be together, I promise. I place my hand on my chest in a solemn vow to seal our unspoken devotion. For a moment, there is silence, a girl and her onigiri exchanging long, affectionate stares. Then I turn sharply, close my eyes, and make a tiny, desperate dash toward the cashier, resisting every urge in my body to look back. Because if I dare turn my head, I might walk out with all 3. Stepping outside the 7-Eleven, I find a bench on the station plaza and sit down. The clouds part and sunlight spills across the pavement like a slow exhale. Toyama feels peaceful, understated, almost shy. I unwrap the onigiri with practiced fingers, like opening a love letter, written entirely in rice and seaweed. Now, friends, please forgive me. I am far too hungry and frankly still emotionally exhausted from that intense Young and the Restless level internal drama inside the 7-Eleven to demonstrate, step by step, the proper ceremonial way of unwrapping an onigiri. If you're not yet a professional like me, someone who has eaten n to the power of infinity onigiri, there's something important you should know. Japanese onigiri packaging is pure genius. Printed right on the wrapper are clear little diagrams, patiently showing you the correct order of peeling, so the nori stays crisp and your hands remain impressively non-sticky. Follow the numbers. Trust the system. You'll master this skill in no time. And if that still feels a little intimidating, don't worry. YouTube is full of kind, patient souls who have filmed step-by-step demonstrations in case you prefer learning from a real human being peeling rice balls with confidence. So now, let's fast forward to the part where I've already unwrapped the onigiri. Say, 1 second. See? I told you, I'm a pro. Then comes the first bite. Soft yet sturdy rice, creamy tuna, sweet tangy Kewpie mayo, a gentle crunch of nori. A sigh rises, not from my mouth, but from somewhere much deeper. It feels as if the world softens around me, as if a pair of strong arms wraps around my waist, steady, familiar. A voice leans close behind my ear and whispers, tender and certain, "Suffer no more, my love. I'm here now. I'll always be here when you need me." Only then do I realize my internal The Young and the Restless episode is still playing, even though we've already survived the great dilemma of choosing which onigiri. All right, time to turn off the TV and return to reality. Because do you know what the most unbelievable part is? This onigiri costs only around 200 yen. Yes, you heard that right. Beautifully made, deeply comforting, and quietly affordable. Good taste at a kind price, just enough to carry you gently through the rest of the journey. The portion is perfect for a quick recharge. Just 1 onigiri, that's all I need. Not too much, not too little. Enough to calm the hunger. Enough to still leave room for Grandma's feast. For that, I am grateful. I finished the onigiri in just 3 bites. Yes, I know, I eat too fast. A bit too aggressively. Hardly matching the grace and elegance I so confidently believe I possess when I'm not under the influence of hunger. But as you may recall from Chapter 5, I'm still very much in the symptomatic phase of Japanese food craving syndrome. With time and repeated exposure to delicious Japanese food, I should be able to slow down as this trip continues. I hope. Just as I finish, a tram appears in the distance, short, boxy, and politely understated. It clanks softly, like it doesn't want to interrupt the afternoon. Perfect timing. Let's head toward our destination, Grandma's house. Here we go. Next stop, Minami Toyama. Here we go. Sorry everyone. I tend to get a little sleepy right after eating something delicious and comforting. It's that very specific, very gentle kind of doziness that settles in once hunger has finally been quieted. A nice feeling, isn't it? That brief, cozy urge to nap that comes when your stomach is satisfied and the world feels safe for a moment. Oh no, I'm starting to sound, and behave, more like a grandma than my grandma. Okay, maybe her constant reminders about getting enough beauty sleep have been quietly working their way into me all along. Anyway, I've been mumbling for quite a while now, and it's getting rather late, so let's pause our journey here and continue the rest of the story in the next chapter. But before we say goodnight, let me leave you with a small, cozy quiz. As you may remember, earlier in this chapter I had a full Young and the Restless level dilemma. Standing inside 7-Eleven, wrestling with fate, destiny, and hunger, trying to choose just one onigiri for my pre-lunch survival. And that moment leads us quite naturally to a question some of you might now be wondering. What's the difference between onigiri and sushi? After all, they both involve rice, they both sometimes wear seaweed, they look related. A little like Nick Newman and Adam Newman, two half-brother, one woman, endless emotional confusion. Okay, cut. Let's not cue another dramatic close-up, signature 5-second silent pause, Young and the Restless moment. Honestly, daytime soap operas are dangerously unforgettable and highly addictive. All right, back to our small, cozy quiz. Onigiri versus sushi. Like many of my friends in Australia, we're used to seeing slices of rolled sushi sold in neat plastic boxes at shopping centers, so it's natural to wonder, aren't onigiri and sushi basically the same thing? Just triangle versus circle? No, my friends. This is not a simple triangle versus circle geometry question. The difference between onigiri and sushi is as wide as pie versus pie. Let's start with sushi. Sushi is actually a broad term, not a single food. It refers to any dish made with vinegared rice. Yes, rice is the key, not the fish, not the seaweed. Sushi uses vinegared rice. There are many types of sushi. If I were to list them all, categorize them, and discuss each in detail, I'd be up all night and miss my bus to work the next morning. So to spare myself panda-level eye bags, let's just mention a few common sushi that we often see. Nigiri sushi, hand-pressed rice topped with a slice of fish or other featured ingredients, such as shrimp or tamago, sweet egg omelet. Gunkan sushi. The word gunkan literally means battleship in Japanese, a name inspired by its sturdy, upright form. Rice at the base, nori wrapped around the sides, built to carry delicate toppings without spilling. Maki sushi. The word maki comes from the Japanese verb maku, meaning to roll. Maki sushi is made by spreading vinegared sushi rice onto a sheet of nori, adding fillings, and rolling it tightly using a bamboo mat called a makisu. The completed maki sushi roll is then sliced into 6 or 8 neat pieces. This is the sushi most commonly sold and most familiar to people outside Japan. So for many, this becomes their mental image of sushi. And that's where the confusion begins. Because visually, a sushi and an onigiri can seem similar. Rice, seaweed, something inside. But the difference runs much deeper than shape. Onigiri does not use vinegared rice. Onigiri is made with plain steamed rice, sometimes lightly salted. The goal is simple: to let the rice speak for itself. The fillings in onigiri are usually cooked or preserved: salted salmon, pickled plum, tuna mayo, hidden quietly inside the rice like a small, comforting secret. Onigiri isn't meant to impress. It isn't meant to be admired from afar. It's meant to be held in the hand. After all, onigiri comes from nigiru, meaning to grip, with the polite prefix o quietly added in front. Onigiri is everyday food, portable, practical, the sandwich of Japan. You eat it with your hands. No soy sauce, no wasabi, no ginger. Just rice, filling, and wherever you happen to be. A train platform, a park bench, a busy morning, a tired afternoon. Sushi, on the other hand, is more deliberate, often eaten sitting down, often prepared by someone trained, dipped lightly into soy sauce, accompanied by ginger and wasabi. It carries a sense of occasion, even when it's casual. So while onigiri and sushi may look like cousins, they live very different lives. One is comfort, the other is craft. And now, you know the difference. So, thank you for staying with me through this bedtime mumble. I hope this story helped soften your thoughts and bring a little calm into your night. If it did, you're always welcome to return, tomorrow night, or any night you need a gentle place to rest your mind. And if you'd like to continue this journey with me, feel free to subscribe and tap the little bell, so you'll be softly reminded when the next bedtime mumble arrives. For now, thank you for listening. Good night. Have a sweet and wonderful dream.